Seo-woo, the hidden daughter of powerful Assemblyman Yoon Jae-joon, is pushed from a controlled upbringing into a politically useful marriage with Kim Unhyeok, whose name also appears as Unhyeok in some translated panels. He believes obedience will keep his life predictable. She seems gentle and compliant, yet her private wishes and stubborn honesty keep disturbing his careful control. What begins as a cold arrangement slowly becomes a volatile mix of desire, family pressure, jealousy, and real attachment. In the dimly lit office, Kim Unhyeok enforces strict control over his new wife, Seo-woo, in a politically arranged marriage. Though Seo-woo appears meek and obedient, she struggles inside. Her silent tears reveal deep emotional pain beneath her compliance. Unhyeok demands submission during their intimate encounter, emphasizing her value only in beauty and meekness, underscoring the power imbalance central to their relationship. Despite occasional faint concern shown by Unhyeok, questioning her tears, he maintains dominance, leaving Seo-woo caught between coerced obedience and inner turmoil. At one point, Seo-woo briefly resists physically, surprising him and exposing complexity in their dynamic where vulnerability and reluctant compliance intertwine. Their nights together proceed with Unhyeok's physical dominance interrupted by moments of subtle complexity, his faint smiles and exhaustion contrasted with Seo-woo's tears and occasional soft protests. The political aim of conception shadows their interactions. Unhyeok notes possible pregnancy signs, which Seo-woo denies with embarrassment. Internally, Seo-woo wrestles with the convergence of forced submission, her sheltered upbringing, and growing secret curiosities about adult intimacy shaped by fictional portrayals and repressed desires. Though serving as a political asset, she harbors delicate, conflicted feelings beneath their cold, controlling reality, blending obedience with a quiet longing for connection. Seo-woo recounts her painful past, from abandonment by her birth mother and survival in a harsh orphanage to being brought into Assemblyman Yoon Jae-joon's wealthy household as his illegitimate daughter. Though her living conditions improve materially, she continues to face social exclusion and relentless bullying by her half-brothers and household tormentors. Her father coldly reminds her that her worth lies only in her mother's beauty, and his support exists solely to groom her as an obedient bride for an arranged marriage that serves political interests, stripping Seo-woo of personal agency and subjecting her to strict control. Despite these hardships, Seo-woo embraces her inherent submissiveness, seeing it as fitting within her constraining environment. Secretly, she dreams of a future husband who is both handsome and physically dominant, revealing layered personal desires beneath her compliant exterior. At a wedding event, she confronts her marginalized status amidst privileged guests. There, she meets Kim Unhyeok, a cold and commanding man deeply involved in business dealings and the politically transactional nature of their arrangement. He insists on her complete obedience and quiet submission, clarifying the power imbalance that will define their complex relationship as Seo-woo tentatively accepts this constrained hope for a new beginning. Before her graduation performance, Seo-woo meets Kim Unhyeok, the man selected for her arranged marriage. Unhyeok grew up after his mother abandoned him, and he now treats control and predictability as protection against being hurt again. Seo-woo, who has been kept away from men and trained to become an acceptable bride, tells him with disarming sincerity that she is quiet, obedient, and willing to follow the arrangement. He expects calculation, but finds no obvious scheme. Her openness catches him off guard, while her sheltered curiosity makes the meeting feel far more personal than either of them planned. Seo-woo admits that her father forbade ordinary contact with men, leaving secret pornography and romance stories as her only education about intimacy. She is embarrassed by that curiosity, but Unhyeok is more intrigued than judgmental. When she worries they may never meet again, he draws her close, straightens her coat, and gives a quiet promise that this will not be their last encounter. Later, Unhyeok attends her graduation ballet in his professional role as a director. Watching her dance, he realizes the supposedly predictable bride has already become the one emotional variable he cannot dismiss. After the performance, Seo-woo catches his sleeve to keep him from leaving. Their restrained conversation gives way to a heated embrace and kiss, revealing that the possessive director and her arranged husband are the same man. Seo-woo meets Kim Unhyeok outdoors after a lengthy separation. Unhyeok, poised and dominant in his suit, takes her hand, remarking on their long absence, establishing intense emotional tension. He openly praises Seo-woo's recent performance, causing her to blush under his penetrating gaze, revealing the power dynamic between them. Unhyeok provocatively suggests his attendance at her show might have been for personal gratification, unsettling yet intriguing Seo-woo by his bluntness. Their interaction balances public formality with teasing dominance, as Seo-woo shifts from embarrassed to quietly amused, hinting at a growing, complex rapport underscored by control and subtle affection. Unhyeok bluntly declares their marriage's primary goal, procreation, emphasizing a pragmatic, transactional nature devoid of romance or tenderness, surprising Seo-woo and eliciting conflicted feelings, anticipation mingled with vulnerability. Despite her constrained agency under her authoritative father, Seo-woo internally grapples with reluctant desire and curiosity about their physical connection. Unhyeok's detached pragmatism contrasts with her layered emotional turmoil. He formalizes their arrangement by giving her a business card to deliver to her father. Their encounter culminates with Unhyeok stating they will soon consummate the marriage. Sharing an intense, silent gaze, Seo-woo closes her eyes, revealing tentative acceptance and vulnerability. As he departs, Seo-woo watches him with softened, uncertain emotions, embodying ongoing tension between submission and burgeoning desire within their charged relationship. Seo-woo, recently graduated, feels both relief and uncertainty. At the ceremony, she notices Kim Unhyeok, a handsome man linked to her family's complex situation. As the crowd disperses, she agrees to accompany him to a hotel for privacy. In the hotel restaurant, Seo-woo remains quiet, introspective, while Unhyeok abstains from eating, revealing his inner turmoil. After a brief, awkward silence, Unhyeok apologizes for being distracted. Gradually, he warms to her presence, offers to reheat his meal, and gently touches Seo-woo's face, asserting subtle control and easing tension between them. They move to a luxurious suite where Unhyeok pours Seo-woo a glass of wine, setting an intimate but controlled tone. Seating her beside him, he declares he will remain wild and uncivilized, foreshadowing the difficult nature of their relationship. Firmly lifting her chin, he reveals their marriage will lack romance. He demands her obedience, innocence, and renunciation of ambition, emphasizing the union's transactional nature. Offering Seo-woo an option to leave, she quietly consents, realizing the serious terms. Resigned, she allows Unhyeok to act as he wills. He smiles genuinely for the first time and draws her into an intimate embrace. Their lips meet in a tender, emotionally complex kiss. As their closeness deepens, Seo-woo's heartbeat quickens, and she acknowledges their binding marriage is now real. In the quiet seclusion of their encounter, Unhyeok takes a guiding role, instructing Seo-woo tenderly on how to kiss him. His calm, commanding presence ushers her into a new closeness, blending affection and control. Seo-woo breathes deeply, nervous yet trusting, following his gentle teachings. Her shyness and growing emotional connection reveal the delicate dance of consent and vulnerability they share. As their intimacy deepens, Unhyeok playfully teases Seo-woo about her body, provoking surprise and mild defensiveness. His clinical remarks on her physique contrast with moments of softness, exposing his complex mix of care and dominance. When he accidentally tears a part of her clothing, they candidly negotiate this breach, highlighting their fragile balance. His dominance tempered by her implicit, conflicted consent. Seo-woo grapples with embarrassment, desire, and limits, while his assertive yet gentle touch reaffirms his commanding role. Their closeness intensifies, weaving tension between obedience and genuine desire. Seo-woo's soft reactions contrast her internal conflict, reflecting nuanced consent. Unhyeok notes her unwavering compliance, finding both fulfillment and complexity in her submission. Their interaction oscillates between teasing humor and boundary pushing. When he jokes about her breasts, Seo-woo reacts with surprise and gentle rejection, asserting her limits. Exposed and self-questioning, Seo-woo reveals growing self-awareness. The scene culminates in Unhyeok's firm yet tender dominance paired with her hesitant consent, highlighting intricate emotional negotiations shaping their evolving relationship. Seo-woo, troubled by swelling and pain from previous encounters, desperately pleads with Kim Unhyeok for gentleness to avoid further injury. Though he acknowledges the risk, Unhyeok proceeds cautiously, internally embracing her reluctance as obedience that fulfills his desire for control. Seo-woo's vulnerability is stark, caught between enduring physical discomfort and submitting to his calculated dominance, emphasizing their complex power imbalance. Unhyeok manages her condition clinically, highlighting the transactional nature of their connection rather than affection, while Seo-woo's conflicted emotions deepen, torn between distress and reluctant fulfillment. Unhyeok notes the manageable swelling on Seo-woo's body and reflects on his deliberate orchestration, reinforcing his emotional detachment and dominant hold. Seo-woo internally struggles with the clash of obedience and pain, the harsh reality shattering fantasies shaped by adult media. When she pleads for a slower pace, Unhyeok teases but keeps control, his comments about her father's upbringing unsettling her and exposing manipulation tied to her family. As he undresses methodically, emphasizing the businesslike nature of their liaison without love or passion, Seo-woo is struck by his size, larger than imagined, revealing her naivety. Though shocked by his intent to finish inside her, she involuntarily responds, her pain intensifying while he observes her expression with satisfaction. Despite curses and discomfort, Seo-woo confesses a conflicted attraction, culminating in a sudden physical falter that encapsulates the fragile balance between obedience and vulnerability. In a quiet, intimate moment, Seo-woo confesses her complete inexperience, nervously admitting she does not know how to tease or handle closeness. Vulnerably, she asks Kim Unhyeok to guide her. His confident nature softens as he responds with a tender kiss, signaling a growing emotional bond beyond physical connection. As their intimacy deepens, Seo-woo repeatedly expresses discomfort and requests pauses, clearly communicating her limits. Unhyeok balances his dominant role with careful attentiveness, asking how she feels and offering gentle reassurance when she admits uncertainty or fear. Their communication, sometimes playfully teasing, allows negotiation of consent and mutual understanding. Despite moments of physical strain or pain, their tender embraces and affirming touches reveal a complex mix of vulnerability and emerging affection. Their encounter escalates with tension and tenderness. Seo-woo's trembling, hesitant breaths show nervousness while Unhyeok maintains carrying authority, gently guiding her. When pain causes Seo-woo to cry out and clearly refuse continuation, Unhyeok slows the pace. Beyond physicality, their connection deepens into mutual respect and emotional complexity. Playful teasing about Seo-woo's nervous nibbling and shared blushes soften the intensity, exposing the nuanced layers of their relationship as they move toward greater intimacy. In closing, their connection resonates through subtle gestures, a shy smile, held breath, and quiet affirmations. Unhyeok's gentle touch and Seo-woo's shy acceptance intertwine power, vulnerability, and care, building a fragile yet hopeful foundation blending obedience with genuine emotional intimacy. Seo-woo consistently consents to her intimate moments with Kim Unhyeok, outwardly obedient yet internally conflicted due to her strict upbringing by her father, Jae-jun. Despite feelings of guilt and shame, she remains devoted to their marriage. Unhyeok, exuding dominance and possessiveness, questions her loyalty, noting habits like her spitting after intimacy, which heighten his suspicion. He exerts control over their reproductive plans, teasing Seo-woo about pregnancy and reinforcing his authority. Yet, amid this tension, tender moments occur, such as when Unhyeok gently cups Seo-woo's face, revealing layers of emotional connection beneath their complex power dynamic. Their relationship intertwines control with gratitude and evolving affection. At dawn, Seo-woo awakes as Unhyeok prepares to leave for work, exchanging tender, routine words. He urges her to rest while she wishes to prolong their closeness. Reflecting on Seo-woo's past pain-induced tears, Unhyeok grants reprieve, showing rare empathy despite his dominant demeanor. Seo-woo notices his exhaustion, hinting at mutual strain. Amid dominant commands, stressing obedience, and transactional intimacy, Seo-woo vulnerably reaches out, asking Unhyeok to think of her during the day. Surprised but affirming, he reveals growing emotional depth. She shyly admits this intimacy is her first, met with his subtle smile acknowledging her vulnerability. Despite complexities, Seo-woo gratefully embraces her marriage, admiring Unhyeok's presence and compatibility. Their warm embrace symbolizes hope and nuanced love, underscoring her resolve to navigate control, affection, and devotion together. Kim Unhyeok waits anxiously outside room 6401, his mind troubled with conflicting feelings about Yoon Seo-woo. He reflects on their intimate efforts to conceive, noticing Seo-woo's moments of genuine pleasure amidst vulnerability, sparking feelings of possessiveness tinged with mistrust, particularly when Seo-woo softly asks him to think of her, a plea he meets with internal frustration. Meanwhile, Seo-woo faces pressure from her mother-in-law, who unexpectedly presents her with birth control pills, establishing strict control over Seo-woo's reproductive decisions. The mother-in-law sternly warns her not to use childbirth as leverage to win Unhyeok's loyalty, emphasizing that Seo-woo's position is precarious since an official bride has already been selected. Though unsettled, Seo-woo silently resolves to persist in securing her place by holding tightly to Unhyeok despite these coercive family dynamics. Unhyeok's stepmother reinforces her dominance by ordering Seo-woo to take the birth control pills and warning her not to use a pregnancy to secure Unhyeok's loyalty. She makes Seo-woo feel temporary and easily replaceable. Her favored biological son, Unhyeok's red-haired younger half-brother, then arrives and needles Seo-woo with provocative remarks. The stepmother excuses his behavior while continuing to treat Unhyeok, who was born to another woman, as an unwanted rival inside the family. Seo-woo is finally ordered to leave the house. She obeys, but the encounter exposes the family structure clearly. The red-haired man is her brother-in-law, while Unhyeok is the older half-brother he openly resents. After Unhyeok's stepmother dismisses Seo-woo from the family home, Seo-woo bumps into the red-haired younger half-brother, not her husband. Boxes of birth control pills spill from her bag, and he picks them up while calling her sister-in-law. His teasing turns crude as he insults his older brother, Unhyeok, and jokes that the pills must mean their marriage is failing. Seo-woo does not rise to the provocation. Instead, she explains that she barely knows her own half-siblings and has no model for ordinary family closeness. Her calm response leaves the younger brother unsure whether she is naive, mocking him, or simply refusing to play along. Seo-woo innocently offers the younger brother one of the pills, explaining that his mother gave them to her and would surely understand if she shared with her son. Soon afterward, the real Unhyeok is waiting beside his car. During the drive, Seo-woo tells him about the hostile meeting. Unhyeok recognizes that his stepmother wants to replace Seo-woo and resents him because he was born to another woman, while favoring her own red-haired son. His father is equally dangerous, known for lecherous behavior and poor boundaries. The only senior relative truly invested in the marriage is Chairman Kim, Unhyeok's grandfather, who wants to meet Seo-woo and wishes the rest of the family would stop interfering. Kim Unhyeok orders Yoon Seo-woo to sever all contact with his family, especially his stepmother and father, to prevent complications. He insists she inform him before responding to any family communication, demonstrating his protective yet controlling nature. Seo-woo, though nervous and conflicted, complies quietly, clutching her skirt as she submits to his command. This establishes a tense dynamic marked by his dominance and her vulnerability. In the confines of a car, Unhyeok exerts control over Seo-woo, demanding she remove her underwear, asserting dominance over her body. Seo-woo feels a complex blend of fear, excitement, and submission amid their intense physical exchange. He teases her about her arousal and jokingly proposes a chastity belt to maintain control until their pregnancy is certain. Their interaction swings between firm commands, such as a sudden wrist grip that heightens tension, and soft moments where he gently calls her name and praises her adaptation to their dynamic. Seo-woo, overwhelmed, silently pleads with him not to leave, revealing her deep fear of abandonment, while Unhyeok battles internal doubt about her true nature, cursing under his breath. Their relationship balances precariously between control, affection, and uncertainty. Yoon Seo-woo endures unfamiliar and painful sensations during a private encounter with Kim Unhyeok inside a transparent car. Emotionally vulnerable, she silently pleads for him not to leave, revealing her deep fear of abandonment. Despite her anxiety, the couple shares intense physical closeness. Unhyeok firmly pins her wrists while tenderly caressing her face. Seo-woo's tightening reflex reflects her internal turmoil. She becomes distraught upon realizing the car's clear windows expose them to outside observers. But Unhyeok dismisses her concerns, asserting his dominance and disregard for societal judgment. Seo-woo also retrieves contraceptive pills from her handbag, showing cautious agency in managing pregnancy risks amid their complex dynamic. As their intimacy deepens, Unhyeok expresses possessive frustration yet affection, calling Seo-woo the woman who satisfies him and will bear his child. Seo-woo voices her limits, unable to continue at times, but he offers tender gestures like kissing her forehead, highlighting their complex interplay of pressure and care. He provocatively mentions future post-marriage intimacy involving bondage, while Seo-woo clings tightly despite fear, internally embracing her love for these moments. Time passes, transitioning to their wedding in a serene chapel adorned with candlelight and flowers. Standing together, Seo-woo holds her bouquet as Unhyeok gently adjusts her veil and they clasp hands, symbolizing mutual respect and commitment. The officiant invites them to proceed with vows, marking a pivotal turning point in their relationship. Time quietly passed until the wedding day. Yoon Seo-woo, calm and graceful in her white dress, walked down the aisle clutching her bouquet. Kim Unhyeok awaited her calmly and offered his hand, which Seo-woo accepted without hesitation. Together, they moved through the traditional ceremony, their union solemnly sealed by mutual consent and witnessed by family. At the reception, Seo-woo reflected on her unexpected marriage and felt growing affection for Unhyeok. He showed concern by gifting her flowers to ease her work stress, a fragile tenderness emerging between them amidst their complex dynamic. Their intimacy was cautious. Seo-woo initiated closeness while Unhyeok kept emotional distance, allowing contact but forbidding overt affection. Her efforts to nurture their relationship deepened, exemplified by presenting him a humble health tonic, accepted with wariness. Then Chairman Kim, Unhyeok's strict grandfather, appeared, scrutinizing Seo-woo's youth and doubting her readiness. Though he briefly considered divorce, he restrained himself and imposed strict marital duties centered on producing an heir. Unhyeok reinforced this, instructing Seo-woo to prioritize conception over pleasure and to ignore disruptive family summons. Seo-woo obediently accepted these demands despite inner conflict. When she sought to join Unhyeok on a business trip, he reluctantly agreed under conditions blending dominance with fragile affection. Holding hands in quiet solidarity, Seo-woo realized she would never fully receive his love, yet she embraced obedience, bracing for the difficult future their duty-bound marriage promised. Kim Unhyeok returns to the estate evening and is informed by staff about Seo-woo's solitary day, responsibly visiting a cathedral and attending an opera. He learns she purchased a delicate ballerina music box as a thoughtful gift for him. Entering Seo-woo's room, he finds her asleep in delicate attire and activates the music box, admiring this subtle expression of her feelings. As Seo-woo awakens shyly, they share a tender exchange with Unhyeok confessing he waited for her to sleep while watching over her. Despite contrasting temperaments and his occasional irritation at her quiet obedience, this moment deepens their trust and emotional bond, strengthening the complex dynamics of their marriage. Later, Unhyeok surprises Seo-woo by blindfolding her and unveiling black lace lingerie he bought, openly expressing desire. Initially startled, Seo-woo internally acknowledges this playful, revealing side of him. The blindfold heightens her senses by removing sight, easing self-consciousness, and allowing her to explore vulnerability. Guided by his calm, assertive direction, she hesitantly consents, balancing obedience, personal agency, and mutual consent. Their closeness escalates until Seo-woo discovers herself sitting atop Unhyeok's face, marking an intimate and consensual climax. Throughout, tension arises as Unhyeok insists on explicit compliance, while Seo-woo wrestles with hesitation mingled with pleasure. As the encounter ends, Seo-woo lies vulnerable and contemplative, recognizing profound emotional growth and evolving trust within their complex marriage. In a softly lit room, Seo-woo, dressed in delicate lingerie given by her husband Kim Unhyeok, is blindfolded to shield her from his gaze and heighten her sensory experience. Unhyeok calmly explains the purpose of the blindfold and, with gentle authority, commands Seo-woo to open her mouth, initiating an intimate act. Although startled, Seo-woo trusts him and consents eagerly, embracing vulnerability as the blindfold removes visual pressures. This allows her to focus on sensations and emotions, fostering growing confidence and closeness between them. Unhyeok playfully critiques Seo-woo for feigning ignorance despite understanding their dynamic, encouraging her to respond physically. Comforted by the blindfold's concealment, removing the intensity of his gaze, Seo-woo sheds hesitation. Under his teasing dominance, she vocalizes desire and enthusiastically obeys his commands. Wearing revealing dark lace, she considers embracing a bolder sexual persona. Responding to Unhyeok's challenge, Seo-woo shamelessly grinds against him and begs for his attention. Their interplay of control and surrender deepens emotional and physical intimacy, as Seo-woo's breathy reactions exhibit layered vulnerability and acceptance, reflecting the evolving complexity of their marriage. Yoon Seo-woo contemplates the rising chance of pregnancy due to her and her husband Kim Unhyeok's frequent intimate encounters. During these moments, Unhyeok takes a gentle but firm dominant role, guiding Seo-woo with a balance of control and affectionate tenderness. Seo-woo willingly navigates this blend of vulnerability and submission, reflecting mutual consent and understanding that deepens their complex emotional and physical connection. In a secretive encounter inside a parked car, Seo-woo shares her anxiety about being seen, musing on the surreal excitement and risk entailed in their scandalous relationship. Unhyeok's jealousy surfaces as he questions Seo-woo's fidelity, exposing underlying tensions of trust. Despite this, their passion intensifies into a fervent display of possessiveness and affection. After climaxing, Unhyeok instructs Seo-woo to maintain control before leaving for work, while Seo-woo internally acknowledges him as her perfect partner, embracing both the comfort and complexity of their bond. At a formal charity event celebrating 30 years of aid to children, Yoon Seo-woo expresses a heartfelt desire to volunteer, seeking meaningful involvement beyond appearances. Her husband, Kim Unhyeok, initially hesitates, concerned about her public image and safety, but gradually supports her earnest wish. Seo-woo explains how volunteering benefits both the children and her personal growth. In a tender moment, Unhyeok gently wipes something from Seo-woo's lips, revealing his deep affection beneath a guarded exterior, symbolizing their growing emotional intimacy and mutual respect within their marriage. During the event, Jong Hee-jin, a lawyer and former acquaintance of Unhyeok, contemplates the role assigned to her by his pragmatic mother as the favored bride candidate, while internally resisting this transactional view of marriage. Later, Unhyeok confronts his mother, defending Seo-woo's dignity and rejecting the emphasis on Hee-jin, affirming his loyalty despite familial pressures. Seo-woo, mindful of her modest social standing compared to Hee-jin, cherishes their genuine bond and resolves to maintain her virtue. As rivalries mount, Seo-woo senses threats to her position when an acquaintance remarks on her frequent outings. Turning, Seo-woo is confronted by her stepsister's unexpected presence, intensifying future conflicts and unsettling the balance she shares with Unhyeok. At their wedding ceremony, Yoon Seo-woo faces immediate hostility as her stepsister arrives with a male companion. The stepsister's initial politeness fades quickly, unleashing harsh insults that question Seo-woo's legitimacy and right to be present. Seo-woo conceals her discomfort but recalls her childhood obedience and past emotional abuse inflicted by her stepsister, illustrating deep family fractures and Seo-woo's marginalized status. As tensions escalate, Seo-woo is instructed by relatives to leave until the ceremony ends, highlighting her exclusion and the social stigma tied to her marriage with Kim Unhyeok. Observing the unrest, Unhyeok confronts the disruptive family members, orders security to remove the intoxicated relatives despite their protests, and restores order, affirming his protective commitment to Seo-woo. Later, away from the chaos, Seo-woo silently follows Unhyeok as he apologizes for the turmoil's impact. She offers a tentative apology, which he clarifies until she internally confirms her role as his wife, reinforcing their bond amidst adversity. Unhyeok releases his anger, prioritizing measured protection over retaliation. He explicitly demands Seo-woo's exclusive obedience, declaring she belongs solely to him, while empowering her to confidently defend herself with his support for any consequences. Their exchange of vulnerability and resolve culminates in an affectionate embrace, balancing complex power dynamics with genuine love and mutual commitment. Yoon Seo-woo arrives at her modern apartment and calls out cheerfully before warmly greeting her husband, Kim Unhyeok. Their meeting is gentle and affectionate, exchanging tender touches and a loving kiss that reflect the sincere joy and care in their marriage, though Unhyeok's quiet attentiveness suggests deeper emotional complexities. The couple's closeness intensifies quickly as Unhyeok embraces Seo-woo tightly, initiating passionate physical contact. Seo-woo feels affection for him, but also mild discomfort from the abrupt intensity, revealing her physical sensitivity and hesitation. Their intertwined desire is accompanied by moments of heavy breathing and exchanged words, highlighting subtle friction from mismatched pacing. Internally, Unhyeok reflects on Seo-woo's consistent, steady devotion, which provides reassurance but also unsettles him due to its lack of overt dependence or demands. When sudden pain arises, Seo-woo calmly and openly requests a pause, communicating her physical limits amidst their intimacy. Following their passionate encounter, Seo-woo gently tends to the sleeping Unhyeok by carefully covering him and drawing a heart on his hand multiple times. These tender actions express a warm, genuine affection balanced with emotional restraint. Unhyeok observes her quietly, pretending to sleep while contemplating their complex bond. His introspection reveals tension between Seo-woo's unwavering yet unaffected affection and his own growing insecurities about the nature of their connection. Despite intimate exchanges, an emotional distance remains, defined by Seo-woo's authentic yet independent demeanor and Unhyeok's unresolved internal struggle. Since their marriage began, Unhyeok has noticed Yoon Seo-woo's steady affection mixed with an emotional restraint that unsettles him. His secretary informs him that Seo-woo is volunteering publicly at a local orphanage, a surprising and independent choice that deepens his unease and raises questions about her hidden intentions and secrets. In a parking garage, Unhyeok's red-haired younger half-brother appears again, this time waving one of the pills Seo-woo gave him. He twists her innocent gesture into a sexual insult and taunts Unhyeok about being an inadequate husband. Unhyeok answers with his fists, then warns him never to drag Seo-woo into his filthy jokes again. The confrontation is not only personal. Unhyeok also presses his brother about missing money at Livingware and makes it clear that family status will not protect him from the consequences. Before leaving, Unhyeok receives Seo-woo's misplaced handbag. Its unusual weight and the secrecy surrounding it feed the suspicion already growing in his mind. At the orphanage, Seo-woo is not speaking with her politician father. The elderly visitor is Chairman Kim, Unhyeok's grandfather. Unhyeok had warned Seo-woo to keep her distance from his family, but the chairman continues visiting on his own. He arrives intending to inspect his grandson's new wife and establish who holds authority. Seo-woo's cheerful candor disarms him. She openly admits that Unhyeok has a terrible temper, yet she also talks about her husband with unmistakable affection and proudly shows the life she has built around the children. The chairman's suspicion softens into reluctant fondness, and he begins treating her less like a strategic bride and more like family. Seo-woo returns home early to find her husband, Kim Unhyeok, already there, displaying cold anger that sets a tense atmosphere. He questions her about her volunteer work at the orphanage, noticing an unfamiliar man's cologne on her. Seo-woo hesitates, but reveals it belongs to Chairman Kim, a frequent visitor. Despite this, Unhyeok remains suspicious and decides to verify her story himself, escalating mistrust within their marriage. Unhyeok confronts Seo-woo about her secret use of birth control pills, conflicting with their goal of conceiving a child. Denial from Seo-woo intensifies his accusations and emotional distance. Though Unhyeok believes he fully controls her, her subtle, enigmatic smile signals quiet defiance. When he orders her to undress and approach, their intimate encounter is marked by jealousy and suspicion intertwined with tenderness. Unhyeok struggles with his insecurity and doubts Seo-woo's faithfulness, while Seo-woo asserts agency by managing the intimate aftermath herself. Following their encounter, he leaves abruptly, commanding her to rest, leaving Seo-woo isolated and reflecting on their fractured relationship. Visible bruises and her silent contemplation of seeking another man underline the deepening distrust and fragile state of their marriage. Seo-woo quietly considers postponing motherhood because she wants more time to experience an ordinary marriage with Unhyeok, traveling, talking until dawn, and enjoying small escapes together. During a later conversation at the orphanage, Chairman Kim, her husband's grandfather, tells her that a deeply attached newlywed couple can wait until next year before having a child. Seo-woo agrees that a baby with Unhyeok would be beautiful, and she believes he could become a good father, but she fears that duty would immediately swallow the fragile freedom they have only just begun to discover. Her wish is not to reject a family. It is to protect the relationship long enough for genuine trust to grow. Haunted by past betrayals, Unhyeok's jealousy surfaces, leading to sharp accusations of infidelity towards Seo-woo, who nervously denies any wrongdoing, highlighting the fragile trust in their marriage. In a charged, intimate moment, Unhyeok asserts dominant control, but Seo-woo wrestles with her secret contraceptive use and her wish to delay pregnancy. When he moves toward intercourse, risking conception, she firmly insists he refrain, surprising him and making their conflicting desires starkly clear. Despite the tension, they share tender moments reaffirming their emotional connection amid uncertainty. Following their intimate conflict, Seo-woo and Unhyeok engage in earnest dialogue. Unhyeok expresses satisfaction with their relationship without immediate pressure for children, offering Seo-woo hope for openness and understanding. Though he voices lingering feelings of deception, a gentle touch between them symbolizes ongoing emotional connection, embracing the complexities and unresolved layers of their intertwined lives. Kim Unhyeok initiates intimacy with Yoon Seo-woo amidst a tension-laden marriage rife, with unspoken pressures and emotional barriers. Though he expresses a desire to enjoy their newlywed time, internally he suspects deception and mistrust, his control threatened by Seo-woo's growing independence. He bluntly reminds her that their marriage's purpose is conception, to which Seo-woo responds in silence, revealing her inner turmoil. As they engage physically, Seo-woo exhibits conflicted emotions, straining and hesitant, caught between reluctant consent and vulnerability. Unhyeok wrestles with obsessive possessiveness over Seo-woo's pregnancy, even as he hesitates about contraception. Seo-woo encourages continuation, signaling submission despite discomfort. Their physical closeness underscores emotional distance. Unhyeok's craving to possess her entirely forms an illusory shield over fractured truths. Their intimate encounters continue under a strained rhythm as moments of pause assert Seo-woo's fragile agency. Yet post-coital rejection accentuates their emotional disconnection. Unhyeok recognizes his underestimation of Seo-woo's complexity and grows defensive, while Seo-woo shows exhaustion and vulnerability. Simultaneously, political intrigue escalates. Unhyeok uncovers precise embezzlement linked to Seo-woo's father, causing panic among accomplices who fear exposure. A poised adversary announces discovery of Unhyeok's critical weakness, threatening his position and foreshadowing heightened conflict between personal and political spheres, endangering both their marriage and family legacy. Yoon Seo-woo starts her day with a tender kiss from her husband, Kim Unhyeok, followed by calm breakfast. She likens her life to that of a house cat, comfortable and content in their home, but quietly pondering the contrast between her leisurely life and Unhyeok's hard work outside. Concerned, Unhyeok asks if she feels confined by staying at home, but Seo-woo insists she feels natural and happy in her role, even as Unhyeok privately doubts her sincerity. Their relationship blends affectionate moments with subtle, unspoken tensions, mixing care with emotional confinement beneath their routine intimacy. Seo-woo's father, the politician Yoon Jae-joon, commands her attendance at his birthday banquet to uphold family honor, expressing control and disappointment. Unhyeok advises Seo-woo to comply briefly, reinforcing their united front amid family scrutiny. At the event, Seo-woo faces probing questions about her education and plans for children, affirming compliance with social expectations under pressure, while Unhyeok watches possessively. Overwhelmed, Seo-woo gladly accepts Unhyeok's offer to rest in a nearby hotel room. Their playful interaction there and Seo-woo's observation of an unattended open hotel room door subtly symbolize possible freedoms beyond her confined life. Yoon Seo-woo awakens in a spacious hotel room beside her husband, Kim Unhyeok, both visibly tired, yet sharing a rare moment of relief after recent emotional strain. She reflects on past times when her care soothed Unhyeok's stress, recalling tender touches and subtle kisses, revealing their complex but deep bond. The quiet hotel morning breaks when a well-dressed stranger appears at the door claiming to be a massage therapist. At first he says Seo-woo called him. When she denies it, he changes the story and suggests her husband arrange the visit. That makes no sense to her, because Unhyeok is intensely controlling and would never casually send another man into her room. She calls Unhyeok but gets no answer. Once inside, the stranger drops the professional act, shows her crude advertisements, questions whether her husband satisfies her, and begins undressing. Seo-woo repeatedly refuses. Her old curiosity about pornography does not translate into wanting a random man. She values the affectionate, private life she shares with Unhyeok. When the imposter advances and exposes himself, Seo-woo uses the strength from years of dance training to kick him down. He collapses, then kneels and makes a grotesquely theatrical declaration. A dark figure enters behind her, and Seo-woo realizes the real Unhyeok has arrived, setting up the jealous misunderstanding that follows. After a formal event, Seo-woo tries to contact her husband Kim Unhyeok through calls and messages. Unhyeok notices these attempts but cannot reach her, interpreting her outreach as a deliberate effort to reconnect. His mind becomes clouded with suspicion and mistrust, laying the groundwork for the tense confrontation to follow. Unhyeok confronts Seo-woo, demanding clear answers about her previous message, accusing her of deceit and inviting another man under false pretenses. Seo-woo denies these claims, distressed by his volatile jealousy and threats. Despite anger and accusations, Unhyeok admits he cannot sever ties with Seo-woo, expressing conflicted, possessive love that values their intimate moments above past betrayals or traditional expectations like having children. However, his discovery of birth control pills in Seo-woo's possession shocks him, intensifying his suspicion and control, while Seo-woo denies using them, suggesting they stem from a prior incident. This revelation deepens the mistrust and threatens their relationship's future. In the soft morning light, Seo-woo awakens beside Kim Unhyeok and greets him with gentle affection. She attempts to tie his necktie, but struggles clumsily, doubting her skill. Unhyeok, calm and teasing, chuckles at her awkwardness and warmly reassures her. This exchange reveals their growing intimacy, where small imperfections enhance closeness rather than cause friction. Later, Unhyeok finally asks about the birth control pills hidden in Seo-woo's handbag. The woman who supplied them was not Seo-woo's father and not her birth mother. It was Unhyeok's stepmother, Seo-woo's mother-in-law. She had claimed that an early pregnancy could harm Seo-woo's body and leave her humiliated if the marriage ended, then ordered Seo-woo to keep the pills secret. Seo-woo insists she never took them and never planned to divorce, but admits that hiding them damaged Unhyeok's trust. She also confesses that her obedient image was partly a survival mask. Beneath it, she is curious, independent, and secretly watched pornography and countless romance dramas because her father isolated her from men. Unhyeok admits that control and suspicion have made him cruel. Their unusually frank exchange replaces performance with honesty and opens a gentler path back toward each other. Unhyeok finally understands that a marriage cannot remain vertical, with one person ruling from above. Harshness and locking Seo-woo away have only damaged the bond he wanted to preserve, so all he can do now is lower his pride and ask her to stay. Seo-woo surprises him by saying that she genuinely likes him, including his shameless and possessive sides. She even jokes that she likes the extreme fantasy of him locking her up and getting her pregnant. This is desire and future imagining, not confirmation that she is already pregnant. When Seo-woo later pictures the two of them holding a baby, she thinks of a possible future and admits she once expected childbirth to be the moment Unhyeok finally recognizes love. Instead, he is beginning to recognize it now. Seo-woo then explains the hotel incident clearly. The man was an imposter who lied about being sent for a massage, entered her room, propositioned her, and exposed himself. She refused him and kicked him before he could harm her. Unhyeok's first response is fierce anger toward whoever arranged the attack, but the conversation soon turns inward. Seo-woo says the intimacy she values is not merely physical. It is the warmth of his skin, a loving look, a real kiss, and being held after everything grows quiet. Unhyeok admits he left her unsupported, demanded obedience, and acted as though wanting affection were weakness. He begs for her love and promises to believe her rather than immediately treating every uncertainty as betrayal. Seo-woo embraces him as he is, and he resolves to protect her while also respecting the stronger, more independent woman she has always been. Across these 29 chapters, Yoon Seo-woo and Kim Unhyeok move from a marriage built on control and duty toward a bond that is still flawed but increasingly honest. Their kisses and desire remain part of that bond, yet trust, choice, and the courage to speak plainly become more important than obedience alone. Seo-woo is not confirmed pregnant at this point. The child they imagine belongs to a possible future, while their immediate challenge is learning how to love each other as equals.